Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be upgrading this HP notebook. Welcome back there, guys. So today we've got an upgrade job on this 15-inch HP notebook. According to the BIOS, it's a 2017 laptop, only about 6 years old, so not too old, but getting on a little bit. So the customer primarily uses it for CAD, which is 3D drawings. So it's been working fine for that for a while, but as of late, it's gotten quite slow. I suspect that's probably down to the CAD software updating and being a little bit heavier on the resources. So they say it works okay, it's just a bit slow. So we're going to look at upgrading it as much as we can for them. So I have had a look at the spec of this machine, and I can tell you that it's an AMD A9-9410 processor, which is a dual core processor, so not too powerful. It is about 2.5 or somewhere between 2.5 and 3 gigahertz speed, which isn't too bad, but again, the fact that it's a dual core means that once the customer starts doing anything strenuous or multiple tasks at once, the machine will struggle. So as it's a more modern laptop, fortunately we wouldn't be able to just upgrade the processor like you would in like a desktop PC. Processors on these are soldered to the board, which means in order to upgrade the processor you would need to swap the entire board. I did have a look to see what processors were available for this particular laptop, and I managed to track down a board with an A10-9600P processor on it. When I compared the two, the A10 is a quad-core processor of a similar speed, which means it should be much more powerful than the A9, especially when it comes to doing multiple things at once. Storage wise, it's already got a BX500 Crucial SSD in it, so to be quite honest, I'm happy with that. That's a good enough drive, and there's loads of free space left, so not going to bother upgrading that one. RAM wise, it's got 8 gigabytes. Did have a look via Windows, and it does say that only one slot is in use, but I am going to double check today to see if that's the case, because I have had it in the past where Windows has lied to me. I do plan on upgrading it to 16 gigabytes, so hopefully there is only an 8 gigabyte stick in there and not two 4 gigabyte sticks. But also this laptop is on Windows 10, and so I will be upgrading it to Windows 11 as well. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. As usual, I will be fast forwarding the video, so if you want to watch it in more detail you can slow it down if you wish. It essentially takes the pressure off me. I can take my time, make sure I don't do any damage to the customer's machine. Once we're inside, I'll rejoin you and we can take a look. Okay guys, so here we are with it opened up, and the good news is there's only one RAM slot used, so I should just be able to get another 8 gigabyte stick and upgrade this to 16 gig. Also, as we can see here, we've got the BX500 240 gig Crucial. Still don't think that part needs upgrading. I think that's absolutely fine. I think there's around 150 gig still free on it, so plenty of space left. Not really much point in upgrading it at this stage. As you can see here, we've got the processor soldered on the board. So the board that I've ordered is just this one here. So what I will be tasked with doing is taking all of these components off: speakers, Wi-Fi card, fan, screen. All of these connectors will have to be removed, and the board will have to be removed and replaced. So what I'll do now, I'll cut to the part where the board has actually arrived and the RAM has also arrived, and we'll do the upgrade and the board swap then. Okay guys, so it's been a couple of days now and the replacement motherboard has arrived. As you can see here, it says AM960P, which is the A10. So if you look at it on here, you can see, you pretty much get a good idea that it all just fits sort of on top like that. That's where it goes. So we're going to have to take everything off of this old board, take this old board out, put the new board in, plug it all back in, and put all the peripherals back on as well. Just looking at the board here of what we've actually got to remove, we've got the speaker connector down at the bottom here, trackpad flex cable there. We'll remove the RAM to put on the new board. We've got a USB connector there that goes to the USB board on the left. We've got a flex cable for the CD drive SATA there. We've got what I assume is the keyboard flex cable there. We've got what I assume is the power button cable there, screen cable there, charging port cable there, wireless card, and the antenna connected to it also. And that's pretty much it, guys. Once the board is off, I will also have to take this heatsink off and transfer that to the new board. Not sure if I mentioned, but there is also a fan connector there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart. I'm going to start by taking the RAM out. Let's just pull those two connectors there like so. RAM comes straight out. There we go, 8 gig. So you've got the speaker cable on the right here, so I'm just going to give him a pull. There we go. So he's out. So the next one is the USB connector, so just flick that up like so. And pull that out. There we go. And then the next one is this cable here. Same again, flip that out. And this one here, so just flick that out as well. Keyboard cable, big one, just pull on that. There we go. Fan connector, there we go. Charging port cable connector, nearly either side. So next one is the cable for the antenna for the wireless card, and we're just going to unscrew the screw there on top of the wireless card and then remove that. There's the wireless card. So now we're going to remove the screen cable, so I'm just going to peel this tape up here, come straight out. Right, now I normally wouldn't bother, guys, but I'm going to remove the fan because it's quite hard to get to the power flex there. So I'm just going to remove the fan. And that's revealed the flex cable for the power button there. So I'm just going to flick that up, slide that out. Okay, so as far as I'm aware now, we should be good to remove the motherboard screws and take the board out now. So let me get to that. So in theory, guys, we should be good to lift the board out now, so I'm just going to go and give that a whirl. There's nothing in our way, so there we are. Okay, coke. So there we go, so the board's now free. So the next step is to move over the heatsink to our new board over here. So just going to put the laptop to one side and we'll get that done. Alright then, guys, so I've moved the laptop to one side so we can just have a look at this board. So it's as simple as removing these 4 screws, and that should allow the whole heatsink to come away. So if I just do that. So that's all 4 of those, so might be a little bit stuck, but I'll just pick that up now. There we go. No, come away quite easy. So there we go. So thermal paste wasn't too bad actually. Sometimes it's quite dry, but that seems to be quite wet, so that was good. But as you can see, that's the old original processor. Huge difference in size if you look at between the new one there on the right and the old one on the left. So straight away you can tell that this one on the right is going to be much better. Okay, so the next thing is to give both of these a good clean, get rid of the old paste before we apply paste to the new one and stick the heatsink back on. Okay, so I'm just going to clean these up now with a cloth. Just going to get rid of the old paste just because it'll probably have to go into storage, this board. Well, that didn't take very long to clean at all. So there we go. There's the old AMD A9. Just going to go over this new processor with just a normal dry cloth. So now I've done that, I'm just going to go and use a bit of isopropanol on it just to make sure it's super clean. You can see it there, look, reflecting. Great, so that looks fairly clean to me. That's all good, so we'll leave that there to evaporate. So now on to the heatsink itself, so I'll just clean this off here. Now, I have just spotted an issue, and I imagine most of you lot have already spotted the issue as well. The processor on the old board was only this sort of size, this square size. Obviously the chip on this one is a lot longer, and you can tell that it is. So what I'm going to have to do is just remove this tape here, otherwise what will end up happening is you'll end up with the sides of the chip not being able to transfer heat through this tape and it getting very hot. So I'm going to remove this tape. Right, so I've removed the tape from the heatsink, so we've got much more surface area now, and as you can see next to the chip it's going to be making full contact now, which is great. The paste that I'm going to use for the CPU is Technician's trusty old Arctic Silver 5. There are better things out there, for example this stuff, this Cryonaut, but I wouldn't waste Cryonaut on a laptop, to be quite honest, especially not one with this performance. Normally I only use it with gaming rigs and that kind of thing, but this is the old favourite, so we're going to get this on there and give it a good spread. So to begin with, we're just going to put a bit on the processor, so that will do just fine. Some would say that's too much, but I think that's absolutely fine. So I'm now going to spread that around. Now you will get a lot of people saying that's completely rough surface, completely uneven, what a terrible job. But ultimately, when the heatsink gets pressed down, it will flatten the surface completely. What's actually more important is that you cover the surface area now, cover every millimeter of the chip. That way you can be sure that all of it is making contact with the heatsink. Okay guys, I'm pretty happy with that, to be quite honest. So the next step now is to put the heatsink back on. So if we remember guys, the fan is here on the motherboard, which means the heatsink's got to go on this way. Now what you want to do is try and attach this with minimal movement so that you're not messing the paste up on the other side. What I tend to do is line up the holes as best I can, which I'm going to do now, offer it down and just drop it on like so, and then that's it. There we go, perfect. So I don't want to move that now, I just want to put my screws in and tighten it up. So I'll put that one in first. As you can see, it's lifting it, that's okay. And then put the second one in here. And there we go guys, so heatsink's back on now on the new processor, and that board is ready to be put back in the laptop. So I'll bring the laptop back and we'll carry this on. Okay guys, so I've just dropped the board just roughly where it's supposed to go, made sure all these connectors are on the upside. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the fan back, because, well, before I put the fan back, I'm going to put the power cable flex in place. So just make sure that's in. There we go. So power cable flex is in place. And so the next one is the fan. So I'm just going to pop that through there. Yep. around there. There we go. So just going to screw the fan back in place. 2 screws. So there was one charging cable first. Now for the screen, keyboard, and the CD drive connector, SSD, SATA connector, and the USB board, and the trackpad connector, and finally the speaker connector. There we go, guys. So now I've just got to put the screws in, put the RAM in, and the Wi-Fi card. Okay, so let's put the Wi-Fi card in, put the Wi-Fi card back. Okay, so the RAM, finally all these screws. Okay, so the final hardware upgrade to add is the RAM. So we've got here an 8GB stick of DDR4 2400 megahertz. So all we've got to do is turn him the right way there, line him up, put him in at an angle like so. There we go, and then just simply push him back, and that's job done. So what I'm going to do now is just assemble it back together again, turn it on, and I'll show you what it's like in the OS. Okay, so it's all booted up fine with the new board. Just downloading the Windows 11 ISO. So if you're interested in knowing how to install Windows 11 on unsupported systems, then I may make a video about this soon, so stay tuned for that. But I'm just going to go ahead and install this now. Okay guys, so we're now back on the machine after it's finished its update to Windows 11, and as you can see, it's been successful. So I've just tidied their icons up a little bit because they were all over the place. Just going to go down here and check the task manager, and as you can see, we've now got the AMD A10 9600P processor CPU, and that has 4 cores as opposed to the 2 cores that the A9 had. So they've now got twice as much processing power. Speed wise, it's about the same as the A9, but with having more cores, if they start to do more things at once, then the computer will cope a lot better. And obviously, as you can see there as well, we've now got 16GB of memory. So awesome stuff. So that's worked successfully. So it's just installing the security update, the latest one for today. Let's give that a second, shouldn't take too long. Okay, so that's completed, so we're all up to date now. Now the last thing you should always check if you've ever swapped a motherboard in a computer is to check that it's still activated, and so I've just come over to here and it says active, and that's because it's a license linked to the Microsoft account. So that's good news, it means I don't have to go and get another key. That's all good. So yeah, I'm satisfied with this. It does seem a little bit quicker than it was before. I believe the main use for this computer is Ally CAD, so the 4 cores will come in really useful there. I'm surprised that they were able to cope for so long with 2 cores, but with twice the cores and double the RAM, it should be much better now. So I hope you've all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one.